Yo, what's up? Hi. Peck's not here, but I am. So you're going to have this. You have a good time. Bulls lost, though. It's kind of sad. 117-114 is the score. Did have 6 players in double figures. Definitely fought hard. We're going to break down all of it. But you stand still right now because Katie's about to slap you across the back of your neck. Hello, welcome into CHGO Podcast for the Chicago Bulls. 117-114 is the final score. The Bulls lose to the Houston Rockets in Houston, ending that win streak at 4 games. What up, y'all? I'm Big Dave. Bow Sports is where you can follow me. This is Will the Go Gottlieb, Will_Gottlieb is where you can get him. And that dude who's about to have a show today, I promise you this, is a 4-time NBA champion over there. His name is Will Perdue. He's 7 feet tall. What's up, guys?
What's up?
That means, you know, when I talk to you, you can say hello. It's all right. Hi, Will Perdue.
Hola.
Okay. ¿Cómo está?
Nada más.
Okay. Sí.
That's the extent of our high school Spanish.
So I can't take Will Perdue in public, man. Oh, as I mentioned, 117-114 is the final score. Bulls played tough. They definitely played hard. 6 players in double figures.
How are we shitting on Peck?
I said this already, Will. Already they started.
Not
They're
you.
kicking it off.
The guys in the comments, not
That's
you.
right.
Oh.
You think my name is MG Blazer 77? That's who you think I am?
It might be your man of mystery.
Not MG Blazer 77. Come on, man. I'm a little smoother.
Listen, right now,
A little
Peck,
smoother than that. A little smoother.
Peck's downtown Chicago wearing a green Rockets jersey celebrating the loss.
Is it
Rub
green?
it in, Peck.
Was it green before he, got downtown?
No.
Or
No,
did it become green after what he did downtown?
He
might
jumped
have
into the
gone- he might have
river
gone
and it
swimming.
dyed his Rockets jersey.
Kicked it off, man. He's having a good time, man, and y'all should be too, man, celebrating St. Patrick's Day. But yes, as I mentioned, the Bulls definitely played hard. They definitely played tough. 6 players in double figures. Big game from Tre Jones again. Coby White led way with 23 points. Even Patrick Williams showed that he had a pulse tonight too. Dalen Terry hit 3 threes. I mean, Bulls were clicking. Julian Phillips, I thought, played very well. Vooch hit a huge 3 in the fourth quarter to almost give the Bulls the lead, but there were a ton of lead changes. I believe 16 lead changes tonight. It was a game, man, and the Bulls fought harder and played harder than I thought they would against this Houston Rockets team, who was coming off a back-to-back, who was definitely missing some players. Tari Eason, Asura Thompson was out as well. Amin, excuse me, they're twins. Amin Thompson was out as well. And it just seemed like they were Baby Joey. No, Baby Joey's never out.
Basketball Joey, excuse me.
Yes, Basketball Joey was definitely out. Reed Shepard was definitely out. But yeah, it just still seemed like the Bulls showed up and played competitive and did what they've been doing on this entire 4-game winning streak. It didn't matter if they were up or they were down. It didn't bother their will. It didn't bother their competitive streak. They continued to come out there and fight. And I appreciated that, watching that team, man. And they almost pulled this one out.
It's funny. It almost doesn't matter who's out there. Like, you're missing Giddey today. And, like, obviously Giddey's been putting up huge numbers, driving a lot of the Bulls' offense. But, like, even without him, they looked really good. They were up to a big lead to start the game. Coby had it going. Tre Jones was playing great. Iko being saying the Bulls must re-sign Tre Jones. I think we should talk about that a little bit today because that's a fascinating discussion we were having during the game. Tre Jones was awesome, 19 points, 6 assists, 8 of 13 from the field. So, yeah, I think they're just very committed to this style of play. Their defensive physicality has been much better over the last 10 or so games as compared to the first half of the season. And they just play to a certain style, and they run teams out of the gym. And obviously the Rockets are a very good defensive team on the second night of a back-to-back, missing some guys. But to the Bulls' credit, I mean, they really pushed them. And I think that's what they're looking for. That's what they want this team to be, and you're getting contributions up and down the lineup.
I really like the Bulls bench tonight. Purdue, I love the way that they played. I thought Dalen Terry leading the way with 11 points, but Julian Phillips with 8, Patrick Williams with 10 points. But, it didn't matter who Billy put out there, man. Those guys still had the same kind of fire on both ends of the floor for the team.
That's the one thing you can say as of late is that this team has continued to play hard. I mean, they've made mistakes, but as a coach, if you're making a mistake full speed with effort, you can deal with that. You can accept that. You don't necessarily like it, but, if you're half-assing it and you make a mistake, that's infuriating. That's not what this team is doing. And I love the aggression that they're playing with, the confidence that they're playing with. We can talk about whether they should be winning or losing all we want. And then, we can go down that rabbit hole. But at the end of the day, if this is what they're trying to do, I truly believe they're trying to win every game, then that's how we should judge them. We can talk about at the end of the season what they should have been doing, okay? But like you talked about, I think we need to touch on the Matas situation as well. I mean, yeah, he had 10 points and 3 rebounds, but I think he's hit a little bit of a mental wall in the sense of because of where you are in this part of the season. And I'm going to be very curious to see how he plays throughout this road trip because it's a constant play, travel. It's just you're not going to really have a lot of time to yourself to do your own thing. So how does he adapt throughout this 10-day trip? But as you talk about Dalen Terry, I mean, I've also enjoyed, what we're getting, from now. I know it aggravates the crap out of you, but I mean, Herter's been even playing pretty well, even with the effort, right? Zach Collins. I mean, there's going to be some interesting transactions that are going to have to happen in the offseason with some of these guys.
Yeah.
Touch on the Tre Jones thing. But at the end of the day, what beat the Bulls was what everybody thought was going to beat the Bulls.
Yes.
Rebounding. And you heard Stacey and Adam talk about it. It's on the scouting report. This team does very well on the offensive glass. That's what ended up beating the Bulls.
16 offensive rebounds for the Houston Rockets tonight.
Including one from Jalen Green, which sealed the game for them down the stretch when they could not get anything going in the clutch.
But as you talked about the style, right? And the style is going up and down. But what did we talk about? It's about volume. And unfortunately, because of offensive rebounds, the Bulls got outshot by 5. You're like, it's not a lot. But it was the timing of those 5 shots and what happened, most notably offensive rebounds, that basically won the Rockets the game. So the Rockets leaned on their strength, paid dividends, and they won the game. But the Bulls can't be too upset because of the effort that they put forward. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the Rockets are just better. It's plain and simple.
Yeah, it's really that simple. They're a young team, but they're definitely better than the Bulls. But again, credit to how the Bulls came out and they played from the very first moment of the game. Like, the Bulls showed that they were there to win that game. They weren't just showing up to go through the motions. It didn't matter who they were putting out there or who was on the floor for them. They believed in whoever was out there, and it showed. And, Will, you're kind of seeing a team gel as far as camaraderie is concerned. Like, these guys are playing like they like each other, and they enjoy being around each other, and they want to see success for each other. And I think that starts with guys like Coby White, because Purdue, this, like, however your leader is, that's kind of a reflection of who your team is. And Coby White has always been that guy that has never been one to take all the spotlight for himself. He's always the guy that's trying to throw other shine on other players on his team. He just feels he's a part of this team. And I feel that unselfish nature plays into what this Bulls team and how they play and what they do mentally out there on the floor. You see it in a guy like Giddey. You see it in a guy like Julian Phillips and so on and so forth. So do you feel like that, Will? Like this, like an identity is starting to be shaped by this young team?
You're talking to me, Will, or Will?
Goat Will.
I'm Big Will. He's Little Will.
Oh, talk that then.
Today.
Middle child, have him on something.
I feel like the middle child today. It's a different feeling.
He did chest today.
He did. No legs. No legs today, all chest.
I actually did do legs today, no chest.
Oh,
but,
talk that.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, there was, and I kind of called this. I'm going to toot my own horn here for a second, because I kind of called, like, this team really hit a lull right before the trade deadline when I think everybody in the locker room kind of felt like things were turning over, things were going to be changing. Everybody's in the rumors. The team is not playing well. They're on this losing streak. Like, they're not performing at a high enough level to really warrant keeping it together that they have the way they have the last couple of years. And I said that I think once this trade deadline comes and goes, sorry, Katie, I'll fix it. I promise. Once this trade deadline comes and goes, I think they're going to start playing a little bit more because it's going to be behind them and they're just going to be able to play a little bit more freely. You bring in more depth. I know AK got killed for like the 9 to 10 very good players thing, but like they have good depth where they're playing NBA players even now, missing Ayo, missing Giddey for this game, missing Lonzo. They're able to sustain their style of play through their depth. And so I do think you have a good point there, Dave, where it's like they get to continue playing the way that they want to play through the depth, and then they're just committed to it. They're aggressive with the zone defense. They're just more physical. They're driving better. They're taking fewer threes, but it's not like it's not like they're sacrificing their offense for it. It's like they're actually just getting to the rim a little bit better and drawing more fouls. And so I think it's just been a good combination of committing to the style that they want to play and finding a way to make it sustainable. I don't know that this is something. I'm curious to hear what Little Will has to say about it. Of like, is this a style of play that that can sustain throughout the playoffs?
Seinfeld with Little Jerry the chicken.
Little Jerry, Fusilli Jerry.
But yeah, that's something we were talking about during the game is like, is this something that works in the playoffs? And maybe we'll find out this year.
Yeah.
So to your point, the Bulls won the points in the paint, 52-46.
Yeah.
Because of their aggression.
Yes.
And to your point, Big Dave, that starts with Coby because of his aggression, his improvement with his ball handling. And I think, quite honestly, Coby's making better decisions of when to attack, when to pass, when to shoot. All right? And again, I'll go back to the question I had to you about tonight. I was just, at times, when I could, I was watching the coach, Billy, and he just still, like we talked about the other night, he just seems a lot more relaxed now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with what you're talking about is that he sits in the huddle and he looks around and he's got a lot of young guys who are hungry. He's got a lot of guys that are buying in. And for a coach, that's fun because it's just, they're coachable, they're learning, they're listening, and then they're going out and they're executing.
Yeah, and to add to your point about him being more relaxed, you saw him trying a different lineup again tonight. You saw him put Jalen Smith in there with Zach Collins. We haven't seen that lineup, since Collins has gotten here. And I know Stacey King has been one advocating for a 2-big lineup. I'm trying to figure out the reason why he would try that tonight. You can probably explain that better. But I have always said Billy Donovan has never been beholden to any lineup. He is always comfortable trying anything. But I think that's more to your point, Will, because I don't think if he wasn't comfortable, he wouldn't try those kind of things. He would shorten this to like a basic 8-9-man rotation, and that would be it. So it does say a lot about his confidence in this team too. Yeah,
and just briefly, I know we got to go to ad break in a couple minutes here, but basically Billy was saying before last game that they ran some of this 2-big lineup during practice, and essentially they just like want to have it as an option.
Yeah.
And so they've been wanting to try it and implement it. It's been tough with the schedule and not having a lot of practice time. Vooch was out, so there was no real ability for them to practice the 2 bigs. Because basically what they did is put Jalen at the 4 and play him alongside Collins and play him alongside Vooch. And so I think they were thinking about doing that anyway. And then you play against the Rockets, and as E. Crab says, the Rockets were playing Şengün and Steven Adams together. And so you got to go 2 bigs against that. Those are 2 great defensive rebounders, 2 guys that are going to beat you up inside. And we actually saw Billy go with the Haka Adams late in the game, which was funny. But yeah, I think it's just something that they want to try out in their rotation and kind of have in their bag. I don't expect it's something that they're going to go to very frequently, but I think there's an argument to be made for Jalen Smith as a 4. He's a good shooter. He provides supplemental rim protection, and he's not like a 90s old school back to the basket kind of center. So he can do a little bit of both.
Yeah, we got a lot more to get into on the other side of this break. Matas' mental wall. I know Will Perdue wanted to get into that. Tre Jones and the future of Tre Jones. I think that's an interesting topic right now, man. and much more fun and other things to come. Stay with us here on CHGO Bulls.
You guys, finances can be messy and confusing, but Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control so you can stop earning and start growing. It's more than your average budgeting app. Monarch Money is complete financial command center for all your accounts, investments, and goals. Don't just manage your money, start building wealth with 50% off your first year for our listeners. Start managing your finances to build the life you actually want. Monarch makes managing money simple, even for those with busy lives. With all of your accounts, credit cards, and investments in one place, you'll always be able to know where your money stands without any hassle. You can track your spending, your savings, investments effortlessly, so you can focus on what matters most, making the biggest life goals a reality. Monarch Money is the financial tool that people actually love, and it was named Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025. It's also the top recommended personal finance app by users and experts with over 30,000 5-star reviews. So get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code CHGO at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code, you guessed it, CHGO.
I guessed it.
You guessed it.
Oh, I got Matas out hanging out, enjoying St. Patrick's Day, and I already know what he's out there doing. He's getting that easy drinking going on, baby. He's got that Sam Adams American Light on deck, and you should too if you're 21 and over. Make sure you're doing responsibly, y'all, because light beer just got better. Introducing Sam Adams American Light. It's clean, it's crisp, and it's super easy to drink. There are no gimmicks, no fluffs, no woozies, or no wazies. Sam Adams Light is not your average light beer. It's brewed with 100% American source ingredients from local independent farmers. That's awesome. Light beer that is just simply made right, because light beer shouldn't feel like a compromise, y'all. It's an American classic that is so dang on smooth, you'll want to crack open another one, and then another one, and then one more, and then another one, because it's always Sam season. Light beer just got so much better. Grab some Sam Adams American Light. Available right now at select Chicago retailers. Must be 21. Please, I implore you, please drink responsibly.
Can I say one more thing about Sam Adams?
You can.
And beer. I want everybody to raise their glass and say a very happy birthday to our queen of the controls, Katie Duffy. Happy birthday, Katie.
Yay!
Hanging out with us on St. Patrick's Day, Saturday night. Bulls lost, and Katie's here working hard.
And she spent it hanging out with us.
What a pro.
Oh, Katie, is this the birthday that you have always dreamed of?
Look, there's worse places to be.
You got that right.
I'm hanging out with you guys. It's fine. This is also like the 4th birthday in a row that I've worked, so I'm used to it by now.
So this is normal to you.
Okay. So what's your point?
My point is that this is not an anomaly.
You're committed?
I'm committed.
Your point is this is the best birthday you've had in the last 4 years.
That's what that sounds like to me.
Sure, why not?
I don't know. 2 years ago, I went to work drunk, so
Did you get anything done?
Good. Oh yeah. No,
Like-
I'm still productive.
Oh, so you were a productive drunk.
It was one of our most productive days ever.
Made,
No.
You
made
could be drinking
zero
right
mistakes.
Guys,
I
our
am.
numbers
This
are
is
off the
wine,
charts.
Will.
Oh,
That's what I
man.
like to see.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this show she's about to produce the crap out of this one, too. This is going down, man. Happy birthday to Katie. And show her that you're saying happy birthday to her by hitting the like button. Hit the like. Show love to Katie on her birthday and many, 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 many more. And you know what else she wants you to talk about is what we going to be doing on the 31st, Will Perdue.
What's that?
Oh, May 31st. We will be live at Hooters. There it is, right there. That's what we're going to be, man.
Hooters.
660 North Wales Street. That's where it will be for the Bulls versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Alex Caruso. Live pregame show, y'all. We will be doing it for an hour, a special hour-long pregame show. We'll start at 6 p.m. If you have never gotten a chance to see us in person, man, come on out and say hello, hang out, have a great time at a great place with some great people. I will be there. Go will be there. Mustache Man will be there.
Angry
and the
Mustache
birthday
Man.
girl will be
Will he be
in
there?
the house. He'll be golfing.
He'll be golfing.
No, I'm
He'll be
working.
golfing.
Will he be working?
Tomato.
Doing the Division II championship.
Flex.
He's gonna get a golf in, man. Don't he's gonna get
Well,
some
that's
rounds
the
in.
next day.
He's got
That's
a plan.
earlier that morning.
Earlier that morning. We're gonna talk about it some more and more, but yes, please come on out. We love seeing all y'all, man. Come yell at us, come laugh with us, come talk giddy with us, whatever you want to discuss, come hang out with us, man. It's gonna be a really fun time over at Hooters, 660 North Wells.
And by the
Katie.
way, no ticket required.
Yes.
You just roll on
Just
in
roll
there.
in.
Roll on in there.
Come on in there, hang on out, drink some awesome drinks that won't break the bank. Just hang out with us, man. It's gonna be a good time.
Eat some wings.
Hope to see all y'all there, man. Of course, the wings. That goes without saying.
They
That's
brought
why I ain't
some
got to
wings here
mention
recently.
that.
They're good wings.
The wings are fire. That's
They're
what we
good.
know them for, man. Is that. Oh, look at everybody showing Katie love, man. And just remember Orlando Cruz, K-A-T-Y. There's a Y, no I-E on Katie. That's how it goes. Matt Peck has shown up in the chat saying happy birthday to Katie. And looks like it's coherent language right there, Will. So there it is. He's not super slapped like you thought he would be. He can still type. Are you disappointed?
No, I didn't think he would be. I just wanted to act like he would be. I knew he wouldn't be. He's a responsible adult now.
This is true.
Matt, with all due respect, please log out. Do not watch our show tonight. Take the night off. You deserve it.
Seriously, man.
Do not
Just-
pass go.
I agree with him on this.
Just get out of here.
Just
man.
get out of here, dog.
Just get out of here.
Just get out of here.
You're not welcome here tonight,
It's
Matt.
all right, dog. Go chill out, dog. Go have fun. Enjoy your day. Monday, he shall return, and fans can talk about
No,
his
that's the thing, though. He already has enjoyed his day. It's 10 o'clock.
It's St. Patrick's Day, so the day is still in the name, so it keeps going, man. St. Patrick's Day weekend, I should say. But
Oh.
it keeps going. Keeps going there, Will Perdue. It
Now-
don't stop.
Now, remember what Monday is.
You
Utah
remember
Jazz
what
game.
Monday was? Mm-hmm.
Bulls versus Jazz.
That's right.
Huge game.
It's Peck's.
game.
It's actually Peck's birthday.
This is
Oh,
true.
really?
This is
Then
true.
you should probably take that day off too, Matt.
Too late. He's left.
Okay,
Oh,
bye.
Too right. He's out. Too late.
We love you, Matt.
But he'll get into it on that day, man. But in the meantime, between time, we still got this game to talk about it. And Will, you wanted to talk about Matas Buzelis and where he is mentally. You feel like I don't know if you want to say he's hit that rookie wall yet, but you feel like there are some things that he's dealing with that are strictly mental, not necessarily physical part of his game out there, but definitely the mental part of his game. Can you expound on that a little?
Yeah, see, now as I've watched these games, what I'm noticing is he's kind of in that rock and a hard place. That it has nothing to do with a lack of effort, but now, there's a scouting report on him, so teams are starting to play him differently, which is having an effect on his production. So now it's his responsibility to take the next step, get in the film room and start looking on how teams are playing him. Talk to the coaching staff about what it is they see, right? Talk to the veteran players, Vooch, right? Coby, Io, when he's around the team, about what is it they're seeing that he can do differently. Because you still see the effort, but now you're starting to see, just in my opinion, starting to see a little bit of that frustration with the body language. Because prior, he was getting the results with the effort. Now the effort's still there, but he's not getting the same results. And I know when you look at his numbers tonight, you're like, they look pretty decent, but it's not at the same efficiency rate. And the frustration can get the better of you because then you can start trying too hard. And then it's almost like running in quicksand. It makes things worse, right? So it's easy to say, hey, just relax and keep playing. It's not how it works. He's got to kind of pull back a little bit and start doing the IQ part of the game now, to where not only is he learning more about the game, but he's learning more about himself. Because I think what you've seen from Matas is, because of his confidence, he's probably been the dog that's had the most effort on a team. You may be better than me, but you're not going to play harder. You're not going to try harder. Doesn't mean as much to you as it does to me. But now that he's made that next step, you run into guys every night that it's just as important, or maybe even more so than what you think. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a minute. Regardless of how much I try, how hard I play, the intensity I show, there's somebody out here that can match or better. But also, like you were talking about, Somebody mentioned something about confidence has a lot to do with experience. That's a yes and no answer. Confidence, more importantly, is about how you choose to think than about experience. But what experience does, and that's what he does not have at the moment, is, okay, here's a perfect example. Coby now has the experience that when he goes through, what did he go through, that drought where he missed 40 straight threes this year?
He had a drought. Definitely had a drought.
Right? But yet, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
He's got something to lean back on.
Right.
Something to look at. Okay, mental note. What did I do the last time this happened? All right? And he talked about this, about how he had to learn to work out less because he was playing more. Because Coby was a guy that he would practice twice a day. Now, the second practice was he'd go to the Advocate Center at 8 or 9 o'clock, get up a couple hundred shots. Like, well, how does that affect you? Well, if you look at, because of his size, where does Coby shoot from? Shoots with his legs, right? Reminds me a lot of John Paxson. Pax didn't shoot like Steph Curry. It's just the efficiency there is incredible. But also you hear the stories about how his dad had to basically break his shot down. They went back to square one, and he totally had to rebuild his shot because he used to shoot down here because he was so, I don't want to say weak, but he was weaker as an individual. So that's how he got his shot off. But you can't do that against taller defenders, so he had to change. And you had to get it off a lot quicker. But if you go back and you look at the height that John Paxson used to get on his jumper, because it was legs, Coby's legs. So he's got to have legs to have a shot, right? But he's got now hours and hours and hours and hours and games and games and games of experience to figure out the ins and outs, the yin and the yang. What's the word you used about your beer, whatever it was?
The woozy and the wazzies.
Yeah, he's got the woozy and the wazzies, see? But that's what...
Shout out Wolf of Wall Street.
But that's what Matas does not have.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like banging your head on the wall, like, okay, I don't have the answers, but I got to figure this out. It'll come.
So you feel like he's forcing it more a little bit because he wants it so bad that he starts kind of forcing it, which is not uncommon among rookie players.
Well, he wants to have that impact. He wants to impact the game. He wants to, at the end of the game, when the game is over, somebody may look at the stat sheet and be like, yo, Matas didn't have a good game. Statistically, he did not. But effort-wise, whether it's deflections, loose balls, taking a charge, keeping an offensive rebound alive, whatever it may be.
Block shots, yeah.
Block shots. He had a positive impact that helped them win. So then he sits in the locker room and he goes, I could have done better, because you've heard the interviews, but he also knows that he made a difference, and his effort made a difference in them winning the game. And that's something that, okay, I can live with that. That helps me sleep at night, but I know I have things to work on, to where now I'd almost guarantee you he's staring at the ceiling, aggravated, can't sleep, frustrated, pacing. And now what happens? You're not getting the proper amount of rest. You're tired. You're fatigued. It's just kind of like you're pouring gasoline on the fire, but unfortunately, you're not getting the results that you want in that aspect. And that's every rookie does that. Every rookie does that.
Do that, yeah.
Yeah, and actually, we were just talking about this with Billy the other day, because he kind of mentioned, it was a great question by our guy Drew Stevens, asking about Billy's role in the development process for Matas. And he's saying, like, there's got to be a partnership there, right? Like it's the coaching staff working with the player, it's the training staff, it's the nutritionist, like even some of the veteran players. Now Coby's like the veteran in the locker room. Matas has been turning to Coby for a lot of this stuff.
That's where my favorite sandwich came into the discussion.
What's that?
Chicken parm?
Chicken parm.
Yeah, he did bring up the chicken parm story, because what he talked about was like him learning how to be a professional in terms of taking care of his body. And Billy's talked about this a lot. And not to say that like Matas is not doing a good job of it, but I think to your point, like there's only one way to learn how to do that, and it's to go through it. And so even just like the grind of the regular season, especially now 25, 26, 28, 30 minutes a night, that's different than 10 minutes a night, which is what he was playing for the first 40 games. And so there's a little bit more wear and tear now. I do think he is feeling a bit more tired. I talked to him about it. He wouldn't really admit that, but like the way he's playing, you can see it. And so I think there's a piece of it that's like, how does he learn how to take care of himself at a professional level? And I think that's what they're trying to do. Billy actually did bring up the chicken parm story of like, this is something that Patrick had to go through.
It's a classic.
And now Matas is doing the same
That
thing.
was pretty good. He goes, like, Patrick's eating a chicken parm sandwich an hour before the game.
Yeah.
Patrick, you can't do that.
It keeps growing. Last time he was like, he's eating 2 chicken parms 45 minutes before the game.
The legend of the chicken
The legend
parm.
of the chicken parm only grows.
Oh, we're gonna take another break right here. When we come back, we're gonna continue this conversation, and we also are gonna talk about Tre Jones, man.
Ooh.
Does he stay? Does he go? We don't know. But we'll discuss it.
Ooh, I like that.
Pretty good, Will.
You guys, life has been going a little bit crazy lately, but there's one thing that can help us all unwind, and that is Cornbread Hemp's CBD gummies. Have you been looking for a natural way to relieve aches and discomfort? The CBD gummies from Cornbread Hemp are formulated to work with your body, not against it.
Oh, man.
Everybody knows that Matt Peck is not as young as he once was, but he does care a lot about maintaining his physical and mental wellness so that he can continue drinking beers and eating Italian beef.
Happy birthday.
Cornbread Hemp, the CBD gummies there, are a huge piece of his wellness plan that allow him to continue consuming. Have you tried everything under the sun for your peace of mind? If so, and you're still not finding any solutions, it sounds like it might be time to try Cornbread Hemp. So right now, they're offering CHGO listeners only 30% off their first order.
Okay.
Just visit cornbreadhemp.com/CHGO. Use promo code CHGO at checkout. cornbreadhemp.com/CHGO and use code CHGO for 30% off your order. This is the good life. This is Matt Peck's good life.
It's the GOAT, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and Go likes it when I say this as well. Ray! Shout out to my main man, Ray. Because over at Ray Chevy, the March Radness, I should say, the March Radness sales event. See what happened right there? It's going on now at Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake. That means the latest vehicles you've been looking for are now priced with game-winning savings like Will Perdue at Vanderbilt. Like 0% financing for 60 months, $0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, plus another 0? Yup, 0 hidden fees on select new Chevy models. Or check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for yourself. And as one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive, so you know you're gonna get a great deal. Plus, Ray's Price Promise, ladies and gentlemen, it lets you shop confidently because a guarantee of no add-ons, no hidden fees, and no gimmicks ever. It means the price you see is the price that you're gonna pay. You don't have to worry about price changing, stressful negotiations, or any tricks. And yes, Will Perdue, woozies or wazies. The people at Ray Chevrolet just want to help you get into the right vehicle at the right price. It's that simple. So go see it for yourself. Visit our partner this March at their convenient location right on Route 12 in Fox Lake. And don't miss out on their March Radness sales event going on all month long for 0% financing on select Chevy models. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or RayChevrolet.com. They've been serving that community since 1963. Together, let's drive. Oh, hanging out with us, man. CHGO Bulls Podcast. Thank y'all for looking at us right now. Thank y'all in the chat right now. Shout out Briscoe. Shout out Devin. Shout out Orlando. And everybody hanging out with us. I know Kimberly's in here as well. More likes is what we need. Do it for Katie. Do it for Matt. Give them more likes. It will give them more joy. Shout out to Julie also, who's up in the place. I wanted to say about Matas and his confidence, because you were kind of touching on this just a little bit. Because Matas is a confident dude, and that's one of the main things I love about him. And it takes a lot to shake that confidence from someone. I think it's natural that a player like Matas might have a little issue of a little tiny self-doubt when Will, you probably know this better than anybody, or better than any of us up here, I should say. When your shot is not falling, no matter how confident you are, you might have a little tiny self-doubt if it's happening for a few games like that. So I think with Matas, and we see, the 3-point shot, that it doesn't fall sometimes, maybe he has some self-doubt. But what I love about it the most is he never stays there. You don't see it on his game so much. In his game, you might see it mentally, as you talked about, Will, being a rookie and things like that. But if it's not falling, you'll see him do something on the defensive end, like block some shots. You'll see him trying to get steals and get out on the run and trying to get an easy layup. Like, he continues to try to find different ways to score. But I think it's only natural for a guy to have a little tiny self-doubt, especially being a rookie, starting for your very first time. And listening to you speak, Will, it sounded like you were saying teams are starting to notice him. And so now he's getting up. He might have a little tiny section on that whiteboard that they put up his name and say, Matas Buzelis, let's keep an eye on this guy right here. For me, that's a compliment and showing how well that he's been playing. But it's something that I think gives him just a tiny self-doubt, but something that is not going to stop him from being a better basketball player.
Oh, he'll keep pushing. But it's the doubt part is where what he was doing in shorter minutes was working. It's not working now in longer minutes. So he's wondering why. And the doubt is that he has to get through that doubt to figure it out. Because what people don't realize is the confidence, how waning confidence is, even at the professional level. Because of the fact that on one night you can go 6 of 8 from 3, and the next night go 1 of. I mean, what was Herter tonight? 1 of 9.
Oh, he struggled.
He was in the starting lineup 1 of 6.
1 of 6.
Coby
okay.
1 of 7.
Coby 1 of 7. But sometimes that's the doubt part is that, okay, wait a minute. My elbow was in. The release felt good. Why is this not going in? And all of a sudden now you're not just catch and shoot. Now you're like, it becomes a process, a method, which then slows down the quickness of the shot, which then allows the defense to recover quicker, which allows the defense to be able to defend the shot. It's a whole process in your head.
Yeah, and I think, I want to read one of the quotes from Billy about Matas because I think it kind of speaks to the way that he has been trying to talk about Matas and player development. So he said, if you just watch the game and you look at how many points he's scoring or how many dunks he's got or how many minutes he plays, and therefore he's developing. To me, the development part is, can he be a consistent performer and not play in such a wide box where you don't know what you're going to get from him night to night? And to his credit, Matas has been pretty consistent. I give him a lot of credit. As a young player, he's handled it well, and he's responded well to coaching. But I do think we as a staff and as an organization, as coaches, play a major role in that, just as they do. There's a partnership there. So I think what Billy was saying and what you're saying, Will, are very similar just in terms of like different elements of the same, getting to the same end goal, right? Is like, how can he be a consistent performer in his minutes? How can he get to a point where you know what you're going to get from him, whether it's through the actual gameplay or whether it's through his routine and what he needs to do off the court to get himself ready for that. There needs to be a consistency to that in order for him to get to a point where he can get over the hurdle of, why isn't this working for me? And that's part of the consistency, right? It's not just did he shoot 40% on his threes today? It's like, what kind of player are you getting from him? And I think the playing tired bit that Billy was talking about, and then also the confidence that you were talking about, it's a long season, and he's never played an 82 game season before, right? He played in the G League. That's like 28 games there. And so this is a grind, and he's getting more minutes. So it really has been, I think, a tough stretch for him, but we saw this with Io too, where he came out firing, and then in the second half of the year, teams got him on the scouting report and they said, okay, you can't let this guy get out in transition. And that forced Io to have to adjust, and it took him some time, but he's a much better player for it.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. I think Matas will be okay. We really believe in him and what we see out there. And yeah, like you said, Will, like, this is brand new to him. It's all learning right now. And I like the way he's learning. I'm all about failing while you go, because I always feel like that's the best teacher all the time. So he'll get up, he'll get better.
And by the way, I think Coby's going through that too. Like, this is the first time in his NBA career where he has been the number one option. Mm-hmm. And it's not like, Coby, can you give us 20 as like the third guy on any given night? It's like, actually, Coby, we need like 25, 30 from you tonight. Yeah. And you're seeing him
44.
Yeah. And about 5 rebounds.
Yeah. You're seeing him have to like recognize at times. And it reminds me of something that Pop said about, or maybe Kawhi said about Pop back when he was on the Spurs, is like there was a moment where he realized it's not just about me scoring. It's about our team is better when they need it from me. Our team is better off when I score 20 or 25 or whatever it is. And I think now that Zach is gone, Vooch is playing limited minutes right now, DeMar's gone, Giddey has been out. Like they need Coby to be all of the offense right now. He needs to be the one that's driving it. He needs to be the one that's scoring. I think you're seeing him a little fatigued. You can see that with the shot. He was like 0 for 9 the other night, 1 of 7 tonight. But to his credit, continues to drive, continues to put pressure on the rim, continues to get to the free throw line, 8 attempts tonight. And that's how you end up with 23 points on 21 shots. You don't have to shoot the ball very well, but you can still be efficient by playing towards the rim. And I think Coby's done a really good job of that.
Like, Will, let me ask you that question. Like, when did you know that, okay, this is what my team needs from me? Was it something that clicked for you, or was it something that was told to you like, yo, this is exactly what we need from you night in and night out?
It was a little bit of both.
Okay.
Because I was, but I also came in at a different time when a lot of rookies just didn't play. In my rookie year, I also had Bill Cartwright and Dave Corzine. So I was third option. A lot of DNP CDs. But as my career went on, I classify myself as a late bloomer. I kind of pushed too hard to say, hey, I belong, I can play, this is what I can do. And that hurt me. But it also took a little bit of, me talking to Johnny Bach, me talking to Jim Clemens about where do I fit in? What is it that I need to do? What is it this team needs me to do? Because I'd like to do A, B, C, and D. If I'm going to play, Phil wants me to do this. And this is what I have to master if I'm going to stay on the floor and play. If I go out and score 10 points but don't play defense, I won't play the next game. I got to play defense first, and whatever I give them offensively is like icing on the cake because they're more concerned about how I play against Patrick Ewing on the defensive end, against Brad Daugherty on the defensive end, against all the opponent, against Shaq on the defensive end. That's kind of what they were more concerned about as far as for me, right, regarding, that. They weren't so concerned about, hey, we need 10 points, we need 12 points. We need you to help limit the effectiveness of these guys so that we can have other impacts. And Phil hated to double, things of that nature because it screws up your defense. So we were trying to always work on those aspects first and foremost. And then when I would have good, successful games defensively and on the boards, more than likely we won. But even though I didn't have huge numbers, I knew because of the reaction of my teammates and my coaches that I had a positive impact on the game, and I did what I was asked to do.
Appreciate that insight, man. Let's move on. Let's talk about Tre Jones for a little bit.
Yeah, the people are asking about Tre.
Let's get into Tre Jones for sure.
Briscoe had a good question.
Another good game for him. 17 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists. He was 7 of 12 from the field, 2 of 2 from the 3-point line. He definitely got it done in that first half. I believe he had 12 of his 17 in that first half. I believe it was 5 of 6 from the field in that first half. Like, he did it inside, he did it outside. I said on the last show, I love 7-footers who know that they're 7 feet, and I love dudes who are 6 feet who think that they're 7 feet. And Tre Jones is definitely a guy who thinks that he is 7 feet tall. You can tell him that he's not all you want. He doesn't believe you because the way he plays, man, he is just not, and I can't even use the word scrappy. You know what I mean? He's just fearless.
Scooby?
Relentless. Like, scrappy is stuff I use for, like, little role players and stuff like that, man. Like, oh, I'm looking like I'm trying hard and he's tired, he's doing it. No, bro, this is real basketball stuff he's doing out there. And it's effort. It's relentless, and it is ongoing. He is in there trying to get offensive rebounds. You saw him. That's why he won Goon of the Night last time with the 2 offensive rebounds that he had to basically help seal the game for the Chicago Bulls. But he's playing just incredibly well. But after the season is over, he is the only player, as you pointed out, Will, that is not signed. He will be unrestricted free agent. There will definitely be other teams taking a look at him. So I guess the question is, with how good you're seeing him play and how good you're seeing him fit in, do the Bulls go ahead and keep him and add to the plethora of guards that they already have or do you think it will be better for them to go ahead and let him go?
It's a really tough question because, as you mentioned, almost everybody on the roster is currently under contract through next season as well. Tre Jones and Talen Horton-Tucker are the only two that are going to be unrestricted free agents. Obviously, you have Giddey as restricted. Javon Carter has a player option. I predict he will pick that up. And then Dalen Terry has a team option. So, yeah, I mean, you have a lot of guards. Obviously, you've got Lonzo, you've got Ayo, Coby, Giddey, and now Tre Jones is your fifth guard. But they are playing multiple guards together, right? I think there's something to be said for having multiple ball handlers. We've talked a lot about that and just the Bulls wanting to employ that system. And so I think it makes sense to try to keep him. It's just a matter of what's the cost. And, you know, you re-sign Lonzo Ball, you extend him right before the trade deadline. Is that someone that is going to be around long-term? He's now on a very team-friendly deal with a player option on the second year. Like, could you maybe look to move him for a draft pick and then bring back Tre Jones? Now you have Coby, Ayo, Giddey, and Tre Jones. You can play three of those guys together at times, or you can have Tre Jones come in and off the bench. I think just with his size, it's going to be tough for him to play 30-plus minutes a night. But I think what the Bulls really want is a team that has a lot of depth where you don't lose anything anytime you
9 guys.
You want 9 or 10 really good players. And so, I think it's just a matter of what's the cost. And Giddey too. It's like if you have to give Giddey $30 million, it's going to be harder to retain Tre because, you know, you're cutting into how much space you have. And so you have that element in terms of next year's cap sheet. And then you have to think about it in terms of the 2026 free agency plan, which is going to be, I mean, if you are signing all these guys to long-term contracts, that cuts into the amount of space that you have to use in 2026 in free agency. And so, yeah, it's good to have depth, but if you also want a star, you have to reserve a salary cap slot for that star. And you're going to have to re-sign Coby at a big number. You're going to have to re-sign Ayo. So I think it's hard to imagine the Bulls not making any moves. I mean, Arturas has talked a lot about this being a roster in flux, a transition period. And so I think they are going to have to make some decisions. But when you have a roster that's almost full, that means some guys are going to have to be outgoing. And so I just wonder who it's going to be. But to me, I think what I mentioned about maybe looking to move on from Lonzo and capitalize on the good contract you sign him to, and then bringing back Tre Jones to be that fourth guard, that's where I would be looking. But at the same point, like if you're able to get something good in a sign and trade for Tre Jones, you can't say no to good value just because you want to keep the guy, in my opinion.
Sounds smart to me.
I just don't think he'll be here. You just got too many guards on.
You should have said that before I went on that whole rant.
You were cooking.
It's a waste of talk.
You were cooking though, man. We still eat.
Best case scenario is you hit it on the head as a sign and trade, so maybe you can get something, even though he's unrestricted. But I just think that he'll probably get more money from another team because they'll need him to play a more important role than he will here. And here it's just a numbers game, in my opinion, because of the guys they have on contract. Now, if they could possibly trade Herter or trade Lonzo, who knows what happens, then most definitely bring him back. I want that guy coming off the bench because, again, now he falls in that category of when Billy calls his name, he knows exactly what he's getting. Not necessarily the production, but the effort, the accountability, the responsibility. And he knows that guy's ready to play. And that guy's going to do everything within his power to not only play the right way, but, again, make the necessary sacrifices to help this team win. And those are the guys you'd love to have, especially coming off the bench. Because, you know, the interesting thing is you're seeing this squabble now happen with the Knicks. Okay? Because the starters, they really trust the bench guys. Yeah. And they're basically imploring Thibodeau, play the bench some more, please, because these guys can be productive. My knees. That's how this team has been built. Mm-hmm. We have the depth that we need. Trust these guys a little more. Mm-hmm. So you got some internal turmoil going on. So hopefully they get that figured out. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of what you want is when you turn around and you see the guys on the bench and you be like, yo, if I am having a bad night, those guys got my back.
That's very important. In the comments, Eco Bean saying keep Tre Jones. Sorry, Ayo. Orlando Cruz saying pass on Tre Jones. unless you move another guard for a player in another area of need, but you do not need to duplicate the skill set of X amount of players. Very well said, sir.
But I think that's kind of what I'm saying the Bulls want, is they want to have 2 or 3 guys that you can bring in off the bench that you don't lose any production from them, and they can continue to play to the style that the Bulls are after. I think the bigger thing is you've got your depth now. You need that star player to build everything around.
Correct.
And like, if you feel good about Coby and you feel good about Giddey and you feel good about, Matas being a long-term piece, I think he's got a lot of room to grow still. Like, there has to be a big wing in there. And so, yeah, you can like do this thing with multiple guards and try to run teams off the court. I think
we got that big wing, but now I think we've learned that this guy is most productive coming off the bench.
Patrick?
Yep.
Yeah, well, I think they need like a star wing.
Yeah.
And, I think Matas has a chance to be that, but like, why stop at one? Like, and I saw somebody in the comments talking about like, you've got Giddey, you've got, Coby, Lonzo, Ayo, you've got Zach Collins is playing really well. You've got Herter playing well. Like, they have a good core of players that's going to make them like a respectable team. But if they want to be a seriously good team, they need a star player. They have like a floor right now, and like a floor is fine, but you need to get yourself up to a higher ceiling. Yeah. And that's why, like, obviously we've, beaten it to a pulp at this point, but like the draft is a way to do that, or you're going to have to make some trades. And so having multiple assets, whether it's draft capital or players on good contracts that other teams want, that's how you go out and get those guys in trades. So I think they need to find a way somehow, because even at this point, like you're in a position where even if you package multiple guys for one player to get like an upgrade, you still have so much depth with the quality that of Jalen Smith is like your third big now. He's a serviceable player. Yeah. You've got 5 guards that you can play. You've got Herter is like a serviceable wing that could be getting minutes. So I just think they need to find a star somehow, and that's why it's like, yeah, you want Tre Jones around, you want Ayo around, you want Lonzo around. All these guys are good players that you'd love to have, but if it's going to get in the way of getting that star player, then I just wouldn't let that be the breaking point.
It's from E-Crad. Tre Jones is quality enough to warrant a mid-level exception from a good team, which is good money. Are the Bulls willing to match or beat that? See, Will, what I kind of lead into what you were saying, because for me, this is what I like to talk about when I was talking about Caruso, which is Caruso was rims on a car. And because you still have parts of your car you need to build first. You didn't have an engine, doors are hanging off, and you're worried about wood grain steering wheels. You know what I mean? Like, I think you're worried about the wrong things right now. I think you have enough depth on your team to where you don't have to sit and have a debate like, should we or should we not keep Tre Jones? I still got Lonzo here. I still got Ayo here, man. Like, I have depth, in these guys. What I don't have are stars, like Will is saying. Like, you need stars, and I don't need more role players. And I'm not saying I don't want to keep Tre Jones. If he wants to come back on a deal like that to the Bulls, okay, cool. But it's not something that should be an argument, I think, or a debate where the Bulls should just be, oh, man, then losing sleep over if we should re-sign him or not. He's rims. He's a great piece to have when you're ready to go. When you're ready to go, Tre Jones will shine. He is that kind of guy to have on your team. You will be grateful to have a guy like that on your team. Like, man, we lost a point guard, but we got Tre Jones here. Man, you see that great offensive rebound that Tre Jones got? You see when he was diving on the floor for that loose ball? That's when you're trying to win games, and it matters that your wins are mattering. That's when Tre Jones conversation for me comes into fruition in this kind of way. But right now, you're just not in that area. You're not there right now. So I think Tre Jones should go get his money, because I feel he's playing so well. He's playing incredibly well right now that obviously teams around the league are going to take notice. So since those guys are going to take notice, I say get your money up and get that check and go ahead and get paid, man, for real. But as far as depth and all those other things concerned, I think they already have like 9 or 10 good players.
But again, I think the idea of if you were able to keep him around, and I think the Bulls would be able to do this, even if they paid Giddey $30 million, they could give him 10 or 12 or whatever.
My ticker.
So I'm just saying there's space for them to be able to do that. And I think it puts them in a good position of strength. And we've talked about them not being in a position of strength enough, where if they then need to make a consolidation trade where they package 1 or 2 guards plus a prospect and some picks, they can still do that and still be a deep team. So I do think that there's value in keeping those guys around, but you have to be willing to move them eventually, right?
Yeah.
And so I just think if you can get good players on good deals, you always want to do that.
Yes. If you get good players and get good deals, you absolutely is something that you want to do. And Tre Jones is a really, really good role player.
But to your
I
point,
do find him as a luxury. That's how I kind of look at him, is a straight up luxury for this team, that when a team is ready to win. It's how Alex Caruso, I'm like, yeah, an OKC, perfect fit. I don't need him to go out there and do every single thing that he was doing on offense and defense while he was here for the Bulls. You can be like, oh, man, he didn't play tonight. We won by 30. But in the playoffs, you're going to need a guy like Alex Caruso out there to help you win. And, yeah, man, like Tre Jones is that kind of winning player. He is a winning player. And when the Bulls are ready to win, I think I would love to have a guy like Tre Jones on the team.
I think they think they're ready to win.
And that's where the disconnect continues to kind of be, man. We talked about the new lineup that we saw tonight, guys. The two big guys that were out there, Jalen Smith, Zach Collins. I know Stacey had called for a Vooch and a Zach Collins kind of situation. Just kind of how do you feel about it, Will? Like, we saw Jalen. I mean, I don't think I saw it to the point where I was like, this is a terrible, horrible decision. But it still isn't something I think I'm just going to be like, we should do more of this going forward.
Yeah, I think the two bigs look works if you've got two good shooting bigs. I think it's tough defensively because you're just putting either Collins or Vooch or Jalen Smith in a position where they've got to chase Jabari Smith Jr. around the perimeter, or they've got to chase, Tari Eason. That's just how fours play now, is they're on the perimeter. And I think naturally Zach Collins is a 5. I think Vooch is very much a 5. I think Jalen's like kind of in between, but for me, he's more of a 5 at this point just because he's not like a mobile defender. I think he's good around the basket, and that's useful. But like Matas is the kind of guy that fits really well at the 4 because he's flexible, he's mobile, he can chase players around the perimeter. And so I think it's a good thing to have. Like I was saying, Billy was talking about wanting to just have that as an option in there in case the team goes with Şengün and Steven Adams against you. That's where you want to be able to pull that out. And so I think it's a good thing to have and to work on, but not something I feel like they need to be running every game. And we saw last year the returns on the Drummond and Vooch lineup were not very good in terms of net rating. And I think it's a hard way to make a living in today's NBA, but I do think it's worth having in your back pocket in the event of emergency.
Ooh, so like glass case
Yep.
kind of situation. Perdue, were you like that? You were playing like being a big guy out there, being a center, like having another big guy sit out there next to you. Was that an issue for you? Like, were you guys kind of getting in each other's way, or did it work out?
Think about it.
Again, a whole different era, that you were playing.
San Antonio, me, Dave, and Tim were on the floor together.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Wow.
That worked pretty well.
Wow.
But here's the other thing,
That's
though.
a flex, too.
If the guys play their role correctly, and what I mean by that is let's look at Jalen Smith's line, okay? 12 minutes, 6 rebounds. Bingo. Exactly what we need him to do. But 2 for 7. Not so good.
Mm-hmm.
And of those 7 shots, how many were threes? He was 0 for 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so pump the brakes a little bit on that. I know this is how the team plays. If you catch and you're open, shoot it. But also, I need you on those offensive glass. 0 offensive rebounds. Now, that's an anomaly because usually, quite honestly, he has more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds. But because he was out on the three-point line so much, this is the one thing about Kendall, talking about Vooch, right? Only 3 of 4. Now, I know he didn't have the best game, but to me, that's like a good number. Kendall used to always be screaming at the TV about too many threes, too many 3 of 7, 3 of 8.
Yeah.
We don't need that. All right. But also with Jalen Smith, if he takes 7 shots, 5 of them shouldn't be threes. But he's also not a guy that you throw the ball to in the post and say, go to work. But he's a screen and roll guy. He's a guy that attacks the offensive glass. So I think that's where if you have the two bigs, it's just you got to play your role to perfection. And that's the hard part.
Can I ask it to you this way? Because I think the offensive part is one thing, but the defensive part is very much a different thing. And again, this is why I feel like time and place.
Okay.
But let's say the Bulls are playing the Rockets and you're out there with Dave and Tim. Which one of you is saying, yeah, you're going to be the one that has to go chase Jabari Smith off a pin down or a double stagger screen? Like, that's just, I feel like.
In our case, it would have been Dave.
Yeah. But that's
because Tim played to 3, Dave played to 4, and I played to 5. But Dave was obviously more agile than Tim was. Mm-hmm. So, unfortunately for you, Big Dave, that's who you're guarding.
And it's not like but that's not like a fun thing, right? Like you don't
it's
have
just
that
like
night where it's like, oh God, I got
we were playing
chase
Utah.
Lowry around all these pin downs. Like,
yeah, when we were playing Utah, I had to guard Malone because I was dispensable.
That was right? Fun.
When we were playing Houston, I had to guard Akeem because he wanted to keep. Same thing. They wanted to keep those 2 guys out of foul trouble.
Definitely not fun.
Right? So that was kind of like I knew what my job was. And that was to guard their best interior player, allow those guys a little freedom. But then that also, when you look at the numbers, like I remember we played the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs. First game, I had 16 points. I was like one of the leading scorers. But that's because Barkley was guarding me and he sucks on defense. And he always left to help, and that wasn't his fault, but the help never slid down and took his spot. So I was literally, I think I had 16 points and 6 dunks.
So I'm talking about Will Perdue balling
But the
down.
defense wasn't rotating.
Yeah.
But our guys were more than willing to make the pass.
And he took advantage. Well, thank y'all for watching this on this side, man. For y'all streaming, watching on Roku, watching on Xfinity, thank y'all for hanging out with us, man. You can get more at allchgo.com. 16-6, man. I mean, that's pretty good, Will. Like I would brag about that if I did against Barkley, even though I know he's not playing defense. I'm still talking about it. That's one of the greatest players ever.
But it wasn't his fault, though. But if I see him, I tell him he was, it's his fault. But.
Look, before we get out of here, I did want to touch on Vooch for a second. Just watching his game, he played almost 30 minutes tonight, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Like you mentioned, the 3 or 4 from the 3-point line. But we didn't see him so much down the stretch. We know that he's kind of on the limit, with his time. But I'm asking the question, do you think this will be a permanent thing to not see him playing in that fourth quarter? Because we haven't seen it happen. And he played tonight because of the foul trouble that Collins got in, for sure. But do you think, and I shouldn't even say permanent, but for, let's say, the next couple weeks, that this is what it's going to be for a guy like Nikola Vucevic, even if he gets the green light to play as many minutes as he wants?
I think the big thing is, what's the minute restriction going to be like? Last game, it was up to 28 to 30. I don't think he hit it. Tonight, 29 minutes. He played the last 4.5.
But he wouldn't have if it wasn't for foul trouble.
Sure.
Right.
I truly believe that.
Okay.
Because what happened in the previous game?
Exactly where I was going next is Collins closed that one out. And I think Collins is playing really well. Billy likes the physicality. He does foul quite a bit. And so I think that's something that the Bulls are going to have to contend with. But right now, I mean, Vooch is still like, he's the name brand, right? Like he's the one that I think is going to get the benefit of the doubt. But I agree with you, it's not his best game. I think the numbers look a little bit better than what he was doing out there. He had a couple of plays where it was like rough shots, or, he's not credited with any turnovers, but it felt like he kind of had a couple of plays where he forced something or just it didn't come away with what he needed to. He made that 3, which obviously was huge.
Huge.
And it's not like he had a bad game. I just don't think it was like his most productive game ever. And so I think it's going to start to look a little bit more like a timeshare, especially when you're trying to factor Jalen Smith in there, who only really played at the 4 tonight.
Sure.
And so that's just going to be a tough thing for Billy to kind of manage, because he's got 4 or 5 guards, he's got 3 bigs, and you got to find minutes for all of them. It's a hard puzzle to solve.
It is. Katie, is there any super chats we got to do?
There is one super chat, yes.
Oh, one super chat to have in it. Our guy, Agent Miguel Escar. Nothing at all to be mad at. Fought hard against a higher tier team and a loss to keep our draft percentage. Come on, Tankathon. You could have got a spin tonight, but you didn't hit the 100 likes. Guess y'all just got tired of spins and, throwing likes for Katie on her birthday.
How far away from a spin are we, Katie?
So, 100 is unrealistic tonight just based on the number of viewers, but if we got like 75, I would have been happy.
75.
And they're 6 away. So it's up to you guys if you want to end it before we get there. I'm fine
I can't
with
believe
that.
how many people are hanging and watching with us on St. Patrick's Day. I'm glad you guys are here, but hit the like for us. I would love a spin before we get out of here.
Yeah, you got 5. You got 5 to get.
And they
wins
might
in a
be
row.
watching, but they may not be sober.
It's
just focus
it's the
on the one in
thumb
the
button.
middle.
Look for the thumb button. You can find it.
Just press
I
the
see
one
3 thumb buttons. Which one do I hit?
The one that's like this right there. Oh, looks like they're at 74. All you need is one more. You just need one, ladies and gentlemen. Go and give it that one thumb, and then Katie won't sing happy birthday to you. Having your back like that. Having the back. That's how I roll, baby.
Also,
That's
a
how it
reminder,
is.
we talked about this before, but if you're just joining us, we are having a watch party at Hooters on Wells Street. It's going to be a blast. It's a pregame show, extended pregame. We're going to be hanging out, talking about the Bulls' upcoming game with the Oklahoma City Thunder with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and our old pal Alex Caruso.
Hello.
So we'll be there on March 31st at 6 p.m. for a 1-hour live pregame show.
Also, the Giddy Get Back game.
The Giddy Get Back game.
Giddy Get Back. All right. What's that, 76? All right. You did it. Well done. Congratulations. Katie knew you were out there. Thank you for that. So now you get a spin. Well done. I'm proud of you.
Let's see it.
Dude's like, do it now. All right. Tankathon spin. She's got to reset.
I'm resetting and I'm simming.
All right. Here we go. And
Number
there it
10.
is. The Bulls at 10.
10th pick.
Oh.
Wah, wah.
They're going to get a very good player at 10.
Brooklyn at number 1. Oh my goodness. Brooklyn at 1. I've yet to see one where Washington always wins. Like Washington is always going to be in the top 3, I think. But dude, Brooklyn 1 and
I'm
Phoenix
so excited
at
to
3.
see
It's
Cooper in the
crazy.
NBA. He's going to be incredible.
Cooper Flag, yeah. Get well soon, sir. I hurt his ankle and everything, but get well soon. He's going to be something to see.
Need a
Along with
corned
Dylan
beef
Harper
button.
and Ace Bailey as well, man. All right. Well, we're going to call it a night. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. This has always been fun. We appreciate all the love. We appreciate the hate as well. We just appreciate the fact that y'all are here and watching it with us, man. So come on back and join us again on Monday. The whole crew will be in the house. Matt will be back up in this place. That down there is Will Perdue. He's got 4 NBA championships. Wow. This right here is Will Gottlieb. He's got an incredible head of hair. That over there is Katie Duffy.
Did you get
She's
a
having a
cut?
birthday.
I got a cut
Friday?
this morning.
Fresh.
Very
I thought it looked a little
for Katie's
different.
birthday. I needed to come in presentable for Katie's birthday.
Fresh quaff. It's presentable for Katie's birthday.
Almost made it a whole show without talking about my hair. Almost made it.
I think we need to change his name.
2.
Quaff.
Thank y'all for joining us. I'm Big Dave, y'all. We up out of here. Peace. Quaff.
We all silly like the mayor.